Well, good evening. Welcome to Dwight. Welcome back to VP4 TV. This is our second session today. We were up early this morning. We had a match with two guys from the States, X Games, and the player who's commonly known as VP Monster, Crazy Cow, he's changed his name to at the moment. But VP Monster had a comfortable win, 3 racks to 0. Against X Games. VP Monster's one of the strong contenders to win this tournament. So he's safely through to round 2, where incidentally, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll explain that in a little second, but we have the prospect of an excellent second round match coming up in the tournament. We have 3 matches tonight in the schedule. The first one is MarkShark against Ice Age. That's due to go at the top of the hour, so we're about 4 minutes away from that. Now the problem tonight obviously is these matches are going to take a lot longer than an hour or 90 minutes, but we have this first match due to start, and then in 90 minutes time we have a match between Silvia and Wanwa or Fan, and that's due to go at 8:30 GMT, and then half an hour after that we have a match between RedbaK and IQtoo, or Dwight obviously. So these matches will cross over one another. The main one we're interested in is the one between Silvia and Wanwa, to see how that goes. So the first match, we'll stick with it most of the way. It depends how matches are going as to what will take our interest. So it's important to probably pop in and have a look and see how things are going. In the meantime, we've got other matches in the list. We've got LS3 and Interchange X going to go at it on Friday at 7 PM GMT. And then as soon as I lost to Brainfiller last night, Bill wants to take care of my interest in the tournament, so I've arranged that for Sunday. I've arranged it for a little bit earlier at 5 PM on Sunday, and that was before I knew that Fast Eddie and Mooncake are going to be now going at it at 6 PM on Sunday. So I won't be able to stream that because I'll be in a match at the time. But here's the interesting one. On Sunday night at 7 PM, we have Albinario and Bankster, and that's the thing that I was getting at earlier on, because VP Monster, or Crazy Cow, as you will see on there, is now in round 2, having won this morning, and he will play the winner of the match between Albinario and Bankster. Now Albinario will be getting into that match as the favourite, but the interesting thing is that if he does win, we've got a cracking round 2 match between Albinario and Crazy Cow. But as I say, Bankster will maybe have something to say about that. I noticed MarkShark wasn't in the lobby. He is now. He's arrived. Welcome to Semi-Pro. Yep, MarkShark is there. And Ice Age is there. Ice Age from Australia. And MarkShark from, I believe, the States. Yeah. So that that tournament room should be going up any second, probably within the next 15 to 20 seconds, and then we'll have the lag for the break. Now I've changed the camera to the default setting. I normally have it on 30 for doing live streams, so I've changed it to 40. I think that's the default. So you can let us know whether you like it or you hate it, or you'd rather go back to the other one. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So we definitely are at the top of the hour. I'll have a quick drink while we're waiting in the room going up. Oops. These tournament rooms seem to be taking about a minute and a half. They don't go up dead on the hour. They always have there we go, the room is up now. So we're going to get ourselves straight in. Yeah, this is on the default 40 zoom. And like I say, you can let us know whether you like it like this or whether you'd rather go back, because I normally set it to 30 when I'm live streaming. Slim sent me a link for my match last night, which I don't know what confusion he's got in terms of how he's doing things, but it's on YouTube. It seems there was something weird going on at the beginning of the video. I don't know what the hell was happening. I think the mistake he was making was tabbing out and didn't realise that just freezes the stream when you tab out. I think that's what he was doing. Anyway, MarkShark has won the lag. Now he's going for the unconventional break, which is the 3 railer to hit the 1. That's the one I haven't messed around with. I just go for a standard break. He's gone for the unconventional one. He's got the carom, having to bank the 1. And this is not an easy force follow at distance. But he's picked the line straight away. However, the problem with that is exactly what you see here. He's left it tough. He's right over the 3 ball. And he needs to try and get a pot to keep this going. He can certainly cut the 5, but so difficult from that distance. I presume everybody, well, whoever is there can hear me loud and clear. I haven't got myself muted or anything, I don't think. So let's see how Ice Age does. I hasten to add, I'm not half an hour finished a big double burger, fries as you guys in the States and that say, we call them chips. We know that you call potato crisp chips, but we call chips over here, and onion rings. So again, I'm actually going to hit the sleep wall again pretty shortly. Because again, normally if I have my dinner, I have a nap, and that was a mistake I made yesterday. Welcome to Vertical Liquid. So Ice Age's run is only 6. MarkShark looking to get warmed up. He doesn't play a lot of Cowboy, MarkShark. He does occasionally join us sometimes for a game of doubles in the morning. So he knows what he's doing. Well, I think he's got to go over the left side here. This is a bit straight, but he might have to force this in. Well, he's got a line. He needs to go over to the left slightly to make this a bit more comfortable. He needs to get it nice and thin, and that's not bad. Again, the problem is the balls are just running out of shape slightly here as far as leaving a decent pot. Well, he's cut the 3. I thought he was looking at the 1 there, but he's cut the 3. And now it's just threatening to go away from him again. Well, that's a decent carom. Partially recovered here, but when he pots the 1, once again he should be over to the right side as we look. The angle naturally takes you there, so that you've got that line from the 5 to the 3. Now what's happened? Is he disconnected? I'll be right back, he says. I've just read the chat. Right, MarkShark is back. His run is 20. Carom to continue. And the obvious shot now is a 3-ball and finished. Well, he's playing the 5. Well, that's okay. I mean, he can get this thin, but I wouldn't have potted that. I would have potted the 3. You know, there's a danger that happening. You see that shot there. He ended up having to play the thin carom where you catch the edge of the object ball thin, the one that you're trying to carom. And whenever you do that at that angle, you've always got the high danger of the scratch. And what he should have done was pot that 3-ball, get it onto its spot, and have a line from the 3 to the 5 when it was up the top right-hand side. He would have had an easier carom that way than he would just trying to be greedy for the points. And that's the thing also, is there's a lot of players make the mistake of just wanting to pot the bigger ball for the more points, whereas you pot the ball that gives you the best next shot. And to me, the most obvious one to make your life a lot simpler was potting a 3. So his run ends, Ice Age, and of course the run ends by losing all his points, so he's now stuck way back on 3. Welcome to Tam. Well, I'll give you my thoughts on who's strong contenders for this. You've got the current champion. You've got Baker Maker. He has to be a contender. Although how often he plays in the 10-footer, I don't know, because he's stateside, so he might be fairly regular. But I never see him on early in the morning my time on days. Oh, he is on the odd occasion, but pretty rarely he's on. But he is the current champion. You've got the one I mentioned earlier. You've got VP Monster or Crazy Cow. He's a very strong contender. You've got a number of other players, like obviously the better known players like Albinario and Cobra, who Cobra certainly isn't a Cowboy player, but he's very quickly becoming familiar with the ins and outs of it, and you know, we're going to see that in his first match, whenever that's going to be. And of course, Albinario is a former champion at Cowboy, again many moons ago in VP3, just a normal format Cowboy, but he still won it. And of course, you've got players like, you know, although Bill's in the one-loss side, he can pot balls. So, you know, there's other players that can do the same thing. It's whether they can sort of not master the rest of it, but get a fair idea of what they're doing with the rest of it. I think there's a good half a dozen players in contention. Well, the thing is, though, Tam, he never entered, so we don't need to worry about him. You can't be a contender if you ain't in. End of. You don't contend nothing if you're not in the tournament. And meanwhile, MarkShark, the run ends on 25. At least this time he's kept his points. I see the. I haven't watched any of the football today at all. But I see Japan beat Germany. That's another big shocker. 2 big shocks in the space of 2 days. You've got multiple World Cup winning countries, Germany and Argentina, losing their first matches and on the brink if they get a dodgy second match. And Saudi Arabia beat the Argentinians as well. That shows you I haven't been watching the football today. No, well, I'll tell you, there really is some shockers. Germany getting beaten by Japan, Argentina getting beat by Saudi Arabia, and whoever the hell it was yesterday, because I've totally forgotten, but anyway, you know what I mean. Yeah, that makes it interesting. And that'll do England a big favour if a couple of them drop out. England will start fancying their chances, and that'll be the biggest mistake they'll make. Well, Ice Age has put together a run of 21, looking to play the draw to the 1 ball. And this 5 ball needs to keep rolling because he's got no shot as a pot that's going to be easy. He was hoping that was going to roll further up on the left-hand side there for the left-hand side pocket. Tried to play the bank, but again, it's a decent enough little run just to get himself right into the game. I think the most important thing is, the important thing is getting the big enough runs. But probably the prime importance is getting a run and not scratching and not losing it. And getting the odd fluke doesn't do you any harm either. Well, as far as I'm aware, the longest match of the tournament so far was my match last night, 3¼ hours. We could possibly get something like that. Well, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you weren't here, Tam, but One Pocket Slim was doing a bit of commentary. He did the video. It's on his YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and just type in One Pocket Slim up in the search bar, you'll find his channel there, and you should have the video on it. I thought my high run last night was 64. It was actually 65. I didn't realise that till I watched it. But I didn't only watched up to that point. I never watched the rest of it because that was torture. Well, points lost there for ball not hitting the rail. So MarkShark's stuck in 28. And Ice Age, again, this is where you have to just keep things together and just add a nice little chunk of points here. You see how many players try drawing to balls rather than using sometimes a natural angle that's there. Good evening. Not a lot happened yesterday, other than I had a nightmare. And I think my participation in the tournament will be short and sweet, and then I can concentrate on watching the matches, because I'm missing that's the thing, I'm missing a couple of matches with my match on Sunday night. I'd much rather be watching the other matches. So here's hoping Bill doesn't take too long and put me out my misery, and that way I can catch something of what's going on around us on Sunday night. Well, you get a lot of these where, you know something, I don't like this camera, by the way. I'm going back to I prefer it. I prefer the shorter camera view for streaming. I don't like it at all. I much prefer that. I just think it's better for condensing the table a bit. Sooner or later, somebody's going to put something decent enough together. Now that 5 ball is absolutely hopeless where that is sitting. Send what by email? I went for breakfast this morning. While I was in the lobby, and I had a PM from Silvia. She was asking me if I was there, because obviously wanted to ask me something, but she's not been online all day, so I don't know what it is she was wanting me for. Well, MarkShark on a run of 20. Can he keep the points? And well, this is simple. Roll the 5 in and just roll through an inch or two, not too far, and you'll have the 5-3 easy enough. You see, to me that was a very poor shot. I mean, that is really poor, because there's no way that you should have finished there on the 5. I mean, you look at the shot and you look at the line of that shot into the side, and the cue ball should have been here. And then all you're doing is playing the carom from the 5 to the 3, and that's just really poor thinking. You know, that is something that is glaringly obvious to me. Is you keep it simple, you just roll through and you leave yourself the 5-3, and that's how it's ended his run. And 26. Yeah, I think Steve is. Well, let's put it this way: you might not see him in many more of these live streams during this tournament. We're talking about a guy who designed the game, put in the rules, did all the physics and everything, and doesn't know what the bloody rules of the game is. So, Ice Age, first objective is get rid of the deficit. But you've also got to get rid of that 3 ball into the hole. So, open table from that shot. I think he's got a force follow on the 1 to the 5. It looks fairly straightforward enough from here. Now you see what I keep talking about. Even that shot, I mean, he could have left himself two options there by finishing below the line. He had to finish below the line here to give him two shots, either to the 5 to the 1 or the 5 to the 3. So MarkShark just letting the cue ball run a wee bit loose. And that's why that's why the runs aren't there. Well, Ice Age really struggled to find the post follow line there. And that's a shot that, when you play the first one of the day, the first one in the game, and you nail it, then you know your eye's in. But see, if you don't get the first one, you then start doubting yourself for every other one that you're going to play. So we're neck and neck here pretty much. This is heading to the pocket. Oh. Now again, when you're playing a carom, the one thing to do is to think about where you want to maybe try and send these balls to still give you a shot. So the one ball is going to obviously spot. So that means that the one ball is in a good line from the 1 to the 3. So you stay below the 1. He's again rolled through too far to make it comfortable. Now the shot to play here would be pot the 5 and come down to just the bottom half of the table. It's just a good judge of weight you need here. He's gone right side. As long as you're bottom half of the table, you've got at least one option, and that's the 5 to the 3, which is all you're asking for, just to keep the run going. He's just glanced in behind it. Now, there is one shot here that would give you two choices. If you cut the 3 down the rail on the left, the cue ball goes over to the right, behind the 1, and from the 1 to the 5 and the 1 to the 3, you would have a choice there. He's still okay, but he's got to watch the scratch on the side here off that 1. He's hit it right side of the 1, which is the safe side. And again, there's a 5 to the 1 carom, as long as you just follow through in the 5 ball. I think he's trying to go 3 to the 5. That'll work as well. Looks as if he's decent enough on it. Yeah, that's fine. Now, a good shot here would be to pot the 5 and use that 5 to get the 3 out. The 3 ball, where it's sitting, is not great. And he's overcut that by quite a margin, but it's a run of 23. So it does ask the question of Ice Age. You've got a wide open opportunity here to be first to get to 90 here. And now it's a bit tougher. It's a good long pot here to keep this visit going. And that is fine. What you don't want is a double kiss in the 5. You want to hit it half ball so that you're nudging it somewhere out into the table, and that'll do. Now this is a bit dodgy, this 5 ball. Yes, that's why he's a bit worried there. He ended up overcutting it because he was worried about scratching the side. But what it does mean though is the visit is only, what, 6 points. and that's not going to threaten MarkShark. So Mark's now got the chance to get to 90, and straight away he's missed the pot as well. I think he got himself in two minds to play the pot there and also try and carom the 5. So Ice Age has been given a reprieve here, but he's also missed the pot. What's that up with this side pocket here? They can't put a ball in it. So MarkShark on 85. Now he needs to keep that 3 ball in play, because that's the one he's going to be potting. And that'll take him to 89. So again, finish bottom side of the 3, or top side as we look. That's fine, apart from the fact he might be in line. Let's have a look. No, he's fine. You can get that every day of the week. So that's now got him to the carom phase. Now can he keep these points? Well, MarkShark's not even concentrating at all, because he's potted the 3 ball while he was on 90, and that's the numpty shot that you'll always see in Cowboy. That is the numpty shot, not looking at the HUD, and we've all done it. Every single Cowboy player has done that, and MarkShark just committed the cardinal sin there. Gets himself to 90, pots the 3 instead of playing the carom, and it's given Ice Age another opportunity to get to 90 first. And sooner or later he might well take this opportunity. Easy carom. Needs to keep a ball in play though. And he has done, albeit again it's a thin cut in the 5. But this cue ball might be going in line here for the 5-3. It might not be ideal. Let's have a quick shifty. Yeah, that's no good. Got to go 5-1. It looks as if he's trying to squeeze it past, but he'd be extremely lucky if he caught any edge of that. So he did the right thing. And I would hope for Ice Age's sake that he keeps an eye on the HUD and sees what the score is. And he might well have forgotten about what end of the table the ball pot's is spotted at there. But he can cut the 1 and have a 2-in-1 shot here. Well, he didn't play it as a 2-in-1 shot. Tried to draw into the 3 ball. So again, Ice Age has fallen short. Now, MarkShark should have woken himself up there, potting that 3 ball and losing his points. Well, he's got a choice, and none of them are simple. Cut the 3 or cut the 1. And he's overcut it. So we've a tied ball game here, 86 points all. Nobody wants to get to 90. Ice Age on the brink, 89. And, well, if he's to play a carom, it'll need to be a good one, because these balls are dangerously set in the corner pockets, pretty much. Now, MarkShark can't pot the 5 ball. He can only pot the 3, because that'll take him to 89. And again, he's staying top side of the 3 to give him some sort of shot, but it's not a good line. Now he could try and stun and spin. Well, he just didn't get into it enough. He had the right idea there to try and get that across for that 5 ball. Did I not say Silvia? I think it's Silvia and Wanwa, or Fan at 8:30. That's the match we're going to at 8:30. I mean, this match, what time is it? That's half an hour gone. I mean, not that this is running any slower than any of the racks I played last night. Well, Ice Age manages to keep the 1 point. MarkShark still looking to get to 90. And now that 5 ball will come into play, because the one way of playing a safe carom to that 5 ball is to kick in behind it. Or go that way and kick it that way. The only thing is, if you get too tight to the rail, you could end up scratching off the 5 ball. No, he hasn't got into the cue ball. But no foul, because the 1 ball obviously hit a rail, so he keeps his 3 points scored. And that's a nice little shot. Although the 5 ball, I think he can use the edge of that to try and get to the 1. Oh, just grazed it. Just grazed it, but he set it over the side pocket now instead. So we are tied 92 all here. He looks as if he's going 2-3 rails here, or trying to cut across with inside, but he's potted the 5. Well, that was a dangerous shot to play. So there goes the points. Back to 90. And that's how tough Cowboy is. You know, you do all the hard work. Sometimes you end up doing all the hard work for, for what seems to be an awful lot of shots. But all you've been doing is making a carom and potting the 1 ball. And you end up with like 15 points. And then of course you scratch and you lose them all. And it feels like a night's work. And you've actually not really done much at all, but it just feels like it. And then you lose all the points in 1 stupid shot. Good evening to Mark. Well, MarkShark on 93. Ice Age back to 90. Cue ball's heading to the pocket. Well, this time MarkShark has a thin edge from the 1 to the 3. Now, if you hit the 3 the wrong way, you're hanging that over the pocket. Just gone a wee bit wide. Well, MarkShark will have ball in hand. The 2 balls, the 3 and the 5, are both dead in the kitchen. He can't play them direct. He has got ball in hand, hasn't he? No, he didn't. It wasn't the cue ball that scratched there, was it? Because I'm falling asleep already. The yawning started. But anyway, to cut a long story short, had the cue ball scratched there, he wouldn't have been able to play those two balls, but he could play the one ball because it was on its spot. So MarkShark has a 5-point lead on a run of 2. I don't know whether that's got the legs, but again, that 3 ball is not really great where it's sitting. Well, you know the shot I'd be playing. I'd be skimming off the right side of that one and going 3 rails without a shadow of a doubt. I'd be going that way, that way, that way, that maybe even 4 rails, and into the back of that 3. It's crying out to be played. Well, I did this stupid shot last night where I drew off. I don't know whether it was a 5 ball, but I ended up drawing straight back into the bloody pocket. No, I don't like 3 cushion. I'm not skilled enough to play 3 cushion. Oh, I've hit the sleep wall again. Big time. Oh dear. Oh. Well, again, there's a left side of the 3 off the top rail onto the 1. Did you catch any of that there? No, I must have been a cigarette paper away from that 1 ball. Where's the 5 ball going? Oh, it misses. It almost cut the 1 in. Well, Ice Age has to try and eat into this deficit. Yeah, if you want to torture yourself, just watch the run of 65 that I get. That's a highlight. The rest of it's a nightmare. Well, Ice Age's contribution is just 2, still trailing by 5. MarkShark going from the 5 to the 1, but doing that he's pushing the 5. Well, he's gone too thin. I was saying he was going to be pushing the 5 up towards the 3, but he got it a lot thinner than he needed. Well, the one surefire thing is, Tam, that if you're got a wee touch of insomnia tonight, then put that on. Watch all 3 hours and 15 minutes of that. That'll send you to sleep. Well, it did say, but LS3, it's on his YouTube channel. He sent me the link for it. In fact, hang on. I'll be back in a second. I'm just opening my email. Hang on. If I can remember how to open the email. He sent it to my Hotmail account. See if that'll work. Copy link. And let's just come back in. Hang on. Right. Let me just put this into... I'll put this in the lobby and get it to what that is. Oh, it didn't bloody copy. Bastard, hang on a second. Hang on. I don't know what it is with these this Microsoft Outlook. There's a link in an email that Slim sent to me, and if you highlight it, you right click it, it gives you the option to copy it. So you hit copy, and then you try and paste it in VP4, and it doesn't bloody work. What the hell's that all about? I know what we'll do. Let me do the share and copy. I'll do it from actual YouTube itself. I'll be back in a minute. Just bear with us. Right, now this should work. This should work. Let's try this. Are we in the lobby? Yes, we are. Right. And if I click the link, and hit accept all, then I think he's tabbed out. What the hell's happened here? Right. Now he was doing commentating, but I don't hear him. I think he must start a bit later into the match.
See how it goes.
Oh, there he is.
Silvia's here. Hugh says, I'm assuming I'm going to warm up. I think he will. He's too good a player not to.
Let's just kill that. So, yes, he has got it on YouTube. So just go to YouTube and in the search bar type in One Pocket Slim, you'll find his channel. There isn't any other One Pocket Slim channel, so you won't struggle to find it. Now, let's get tabbed back in. Where have we got to in this match? We've still not got a result in this first rack. Oh, did he? Well, he's pasted it on. It only shows on my screen. It doesn't show, you know, it's not a clickable link on my chat in the screen. But anyway, the links in the lobby, I'll just go to YouTube. Well, MarkShark is 100% got to be out here. This is pretty unmissable, this scratch on the one. And that gives him the first rack on the board. And that took 42, let's say 40 minutes. We'll call it 41 minutes because the match didn't start until like a minute and a half after the top of the hour. And it could honestly went either way. I think Ice Age's main failing, which is a failing of everybody, including myself last night, is that getting a lot of chances, but the contributions are just not quite big enough to impact on that scoreboard enough. Especially when you need them at the right time. You needed to get to 90 first, and he had a couple of goes at getting to 90 and couldn't get there. And then he was trailing by 4 or 5 caroms, and he couldn't get enough of them to inflict any sort of pressure on Mark. Well, 5 into the 1, not a problem. Well, you see, the thing is that you could have had the extra point for the carom onto the 1. Okay, he's landed reasonably well for the force follow. Is he going to catch the edge? Yes, he has. And they're not easy from a distance. Any very slight variation in the distance at that, now we'll get the hiccups, the distance that that cue ball has to travel, it means that if there's any tiny slight variation in that line that you have on the aim, the ball will just keep tracking in that line. And eventually when it gets to the object ball, it's missing it. So MarkShark's visit ends. It's just 13. So 5 on its spot, simple force follow. Now that 5 ball needs to just slow up there, sort of like that, to make the pot easy enough. At the same time, he's got to stop the cue ball as well, I think. Well, he's coming back the way. I think it was easier to actually stop the cue ball further up the table and play the 5 to the 1 carom. This is a force follow again offline. It's not easy, and that's what I mean is if you just go a tiny bit offline, you'll go wide of the ball. It's so difficult to judge. Sometimes on some days your eye finds a line very early. I've said that earlier. I mean, if it finds a line early on in your first long distance force follow, it feels good, and then you feel you've got your eye in to get 2 or 3 more of them. But as soon as you try one and it doesn't happen, and then you keep getting it happening, it's so frustrating. The old heave-ho, and where does the cue ball end up? The usual place. And this is taking a pattern where Ice Age has got ball in hand, a free opportunity to score some points and try and build up any sort of lead worth mentioning. Now what's happened to Ice Age? Is he gone? Is he disconnected? Oh no, sorry, he said be right back. He's probably gone to get a drink, gone to the bathroom or something. Now ideally you would want to pot the 5 and leave some sort of angle like this where you can get that 3 ball off that short rail. Well, he's totally thinned that, and he's scratched as well. And this is where it gets frustrating. Control of the table is jumping backward and forward here. And MarkShark gets it right, gets the 3 ball out into play. And of course, having potted the ball, he's got the open table. A pot or a carom will do. Anything goes. Well, he's got to come back off this 3 ball. He looks as if he's going forward. He's got to come back or kill it like that. And that'll do. That's perfectly good. And now we've got the 3 down in a reasonable position near the 1 ball. So again, this 5 ball, you just have to watch the pace in the cue ball. You're coming out into the table slightly, like that. And you've got a guaranteed 1-5 carom. And the 5 ball, sorry, not the 5, the 3 goes in. And this is a dodgy one. This is the old sucker scratch here. Watch that cue ball. I'll tell a lie, it was pot anyway, so he wasn't playing the carom. That's about the 15th time I've made that mistake today. But this time he is. But he's played it at a nice gentle pace. And you can tell why MarkShark did that. You know why? Because he's made the same silly mistake loads and loads of time previously. That's why he's learned to play those gentle and not to thump them into the 3 ball, because you know you're going to scratch. Right, now he's on a run of 37. Okay, he's got a long pot and a 5 ball, but he just had a look round to see where the 1 is in relation to the pocket. And he's gone way wide. But again, the first objective is make your points and save them. And that's what he's done. And that's given him a healthy little lead. A lead of 35. And Ice Age, is he up to the task of trying to get rid of that deficit? Is he even here? Of course, this is, what time is it here? 7 o'clock. So that's 8, 9, 10. Let me have a look. Where's my... What did I do with my phone? Have I left it down the stairs? No, I've got it in charge. Let's have a quick look. Right. I'll be with you in a second. World clock, that's what I'm looking at. Well, Sydney's in the far east of Australia, isn't it? It's in the southeast of Australia, Sydney. So they're 11 hours ahead of us at the moment. So at the moment it's 5:52 AM on Thursday morning over there. So Ice Age is, let's just say he's an early riser. I mean, it could be that it's like 3 or 4:52 in the morning where he is, because there's about 3 different time zones in Australia. So it's definitely early morning his time to be playing this. And I think bloody cable's caught on the wheel. Hang on. Right, that's better. Well, Ice Age's major problem is what I had for most of the match last night, and that's just not contributing at all. And Ice Age is the pattern is too readily happening for him. He's just not scoring anything. And the way the pattern's going, MarkShark, provided he cuts out the scratches, is keeping more and more of his points and drifting further and further away. So unless MarkShark ends up doing what I did, he's looking already comfortable. I think he's settling in. Now again, for anybody, I don't think there's a lot. There's only me and somebody else on YouTube at the moment, because there's only 2 there. Let's have a quick look, and we'll see that the Silvia match is due up, and that's not due up for another hour and a half. And then we've got another guy from Australia, RedbaK, against Dwight, due to start at 9. So a run of 18 takes MarkShark to 6-8. And I'm going to try and fathom out what's the obvious things that Ice Age is doing here now. To me, the obvious thing he's doing here is doing this. I mean, why he doesn't see the 5 to the 3 is beyond me. And suddenly he's looked round. You know, if you're worried, if you're trying to work your way into constructing something, you've got to do a bit of thinking before you make your move. Now, potting a 5 and finishing left side means he's got a dodgy 5 to 3. The angle is not great, and the cue ball ends up going all over the place, but he's got the bonus of getting the carom and potting a 5 there, which is fine, but I don't know whether he can actually pot a ball here. Yeah, 3 ball did go. And that little cluster of pots and caroms there's given him a run of 20. And he's just went into the 3 ball too hard. He's now left himself with a longer, tougher 5 ball. If that 3 ball had just gone to the short rail and stayed there or thereabouts, it was a much easier pot, but that was well done. And he needs this, but the most important thing, again, at the risk of repeating myself, is he must keep the points. I mean, don't do something daft that's going to lose them. Well, again, you'll see this with a lot of players where they look at trying to draw to make a carom. They seem to be very reluctant to use the rails to make a carom, when the chances are there's a perfectly good line or angle to use the rails to get to a carom. Okay, it might not work, but you know, unless it's a pretty much dead set draw, then there are other options, provided you're not afraid to use the rails. A lot of players sort of get into this habit of trying not to use the rails. But I think if you want to be a half decent all around player, then you can't be afraid to use the rails in Cowboy. That's what they're there for. But the downside of that is, I hasten to add, when you start running that cue ball, you're at the same risk every other player in every other game with 6 pockets on the table gets into. When you start running it, you end up running into holes. So there's a risk-reward thing. You've got to be brave enough to use the natural angle that's there, and also use the angle from the rails. So MarkShark has put again another little run of 17. He's on 85. Playing the 5 gentle to drop it in so he didn't make the carom in the 1, which would have taken him over the 90. But this is going to be a draw to the 5. I don't think the bank is on in the 1. I think this is a much... Oh, watch where it hits the 5 though, or the 3. Oh, he almost got away with that there with a double kiss on the 3. So the run is 23. Once again, the priority was keeping his points. It's got him into the carom phase. And now Ice Age is under real pressure here to try and make another score and eat into this deficit. Well, pot the 1, bring the cue ball over to the right. You've got an easy 5-3 or an easy 1 to the 5-3. Sometimes this is like a 2-pointer. If you glance the 5, you can glance the 3 and get the 2 points. He didn't play the 1, didn't want to risk it. Now that needs to stop right there. Give a chance from the 5 to that 3 ball. Well, the 8 ball tournament, unless you prompt RedbaK or Steve to get the tournament changed whenever. I mean, when did it regularly start? Was it's probably, if you were here an hour ago, LS3, that's when it's due to start, unless the clocks get changed. Or it's been dropped altogether. Well, if it was 8 PM, that means it's still to go ahead then, does it not? Or it was set for 9. Hang on, where's the calendar? Let's have a look at this damn thing. Not according to this. 8 ball US is 10 PM. That's not the one you're talking about though, is it? I don't think it is. 8 o'clock tonight, they've got snooker. 8:30 at straight pool. It looks as if it was 8 ball US, was it 8 ball US or double elimination? It dropped off today, so all right, so it failed to fill. Right, hang on. So this is today. We want to go to next Wednesday, if it's on the schedule, that is. Right, next Wednesday we've got, that's early morning. Yeah, you've got 8 ball Wednesday double knockouts, but it's actually set for 7 PM. Yeah, it should have gone 5 minutes ago. But that's the major issue. It needs to be, you need to send a message to Steve or talk to RedbaK, because he's going to be in the lobby to play his match later on tonight. So get a hold of him and get him to copy the tournament and set it for an hour later. And he'll do it if you ask him. And that way you'll get more people playing it. Because see, this is what I go on about in VP4. I've always been a stickler for having a tournament in this at the same time all year round. I don't give a shit about this clocks going forward, clocks going back crap. It starts at, Friday night 9 ball starts at 7 o'clock. The clocks go backward or forward. You'd make the adjustment on the tournament system for it. You get it changed, and that way you've got everybody who's regular to come and play the tournament each week. They know it's going to be on. They know it's not going to be messed about with. But that's something that the event director needs to make a note of. But he'll only make a note of it if you tell him or ask him to get the damn thing changed. This is what I have to do every summer and every autumn. I have to keep asking Friday night 9 ball to be changed. Well, MarkShark's on 93. He's 1 rack to 0 up. Ice Age again can't get to 90. I'll have another little drink. Well, there might be a few people come on later on when Silvia is going to play wanwa. I'm just going to call him wanwa because that's how it reads. It doesn't. If it was fan, it would be written fan. And his name's wanwa. To hell with this fan crap. Well, the first achievement here for Ice Age is get to 90. That's going to scratch as well. Oh dear. Hang on a wee minute to check something, just a sec. What I'm doing is I'm actually opening up. I'm opening up Discord. I'm going to have a quick look in Discord to see if anybody's in the VP4 lobby. Hang on. I never thought of that. Well, there's 4 guys playing, but surprisingly, RedbaK isn't in Discord. Sometimes he's in Discord, but he's not there. I was going to see if we could get a hold of him on there. No. So much for that idea. Right. What's happening in this match? Well, what's happening is MarkShark scratched again. Only this time Ice Age has got a much simpler setup. And he's got himself to 90 and he's got a nice little position here. Although again, that carom he's just played there, he's played it far too heavy. You've got to be a lot gentler than that on the caroms when you're up close. This is why I say you need to zoom in. That's going to scratch as well. This is unbelievable. I mean, what the hell's he got to do to stay at 90? Yeah, but has Brian not been on Discord? If he suddenly comes online, get him asked to get that 8-ball double knockouts on Wednesday to tell him to get it changed, or ask him to get it changed to an hour later than what it is on his schedule. Cheers. Well, MarkShark, odds on favourite now to be 2 racks to 0 up. Oh, that was a really poor shot there. I mean, there was nothing difficult about that carom. And Ice Age back to square one. Pots the 1. Now this again needs to be much more gentle. Even that was still too heavy. I tell you, take my advice, Ice Age. Get zoomed in when you're doing the caroms. You need to zoom in. And all the time, MarkShark's just nipping away and nipping away. Well, the caroms aren't. I mean, they are the hardest thing to do when the balls are at distance. But if at any point you can manoeuvre them into a favourable position, the one thing you need to do is you need to have a feather-light touch, and you also need to, sometimes look for the little double kiss carom, where you're using the ball that's on the rail to double kiss back to the object ball. There's loads of little things to look for, but the one thing that won't help you is hitting them far too heavily and widening them apart. You've got to do everything you can to try and keep them together. Now, sometimes you can't avoid opening them, but you can still try your best to open them in such a way that a ball is coming either back around the table into a similar position. Loads of ways to try and work it, provided you're trying to think about what you're doing. But Ice Age is hitting these little close-up caroms where the two balls are sort of together. He's splitting them in the middle, but he's too heavy and he's opening them wide straight away, and he's losing opportunities, which is why he's stuck back in 87 and has been for the last half hour. And all the while MarkShark is just chipping away another carom. He's got the 5 to the 1, which is not difficult. So he should be on 100, and he wants to try and keep this one ball in play. And now he can do the force follow and try and come down the right rail. He can try and go to the left corner, but he's trying to draw off the one. I don't like the line for this. Well, I do like it now it's got in. That worked out nice. So it's 2-0 to MarkShark, and Ice Age still stuck back there in 87 and is never going to get to 90. Not in this rack, he isn't. So into rack number 3. The match has been going for an hour and 11, well, an hour, let's say an hour. An hour and 11 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes. Call it an hour and 10. Anyway, welcome everybody. This is the second of 5 matches today, I think. We've got the match between Silvia and Wanwa coming up at 8:30, so there's a fair chance this match could be over by then. But that's only if MarkShark keeps up his concentration and just regularly scores more than what Ice Age has been doing. I don't know whether that's, I think it's the eye, it looks okay. He's going for the edge. Now, that one ball needs to stay there or thereabouts. Now again, dropping the one in and just spinning up the table slightly to the left, slightly up the way. I mean, looking at that and just getting into that and spinning it a wee bit that way gets you closer to the 5 to drift onto the 3. Now where he's got himself there is no good to man the beast. You know, that's you're then having to stun to make the carom. So you're running the cue ball a bit looser doing it that way. Now again, I'm not quite sure of where Ice Age is going here. It looks like the draw from the 3 to the 5. And now he's in trouble. Because he's smack bang right over the 5 ball. And little simple things like that. You can make sure when you're playing a shot that you're not putting the cue ball into some sort of position that's making the shot difficult. And that's just killing his point scoring ability. He's only in 15. And I'm fairly certain that MarkShark will eat into that deficit and probably get himself into the lead from here. But probably not doing this, because he's done the same thing as we've all done. He's locked himself out. He's having to bail out on the 1-5, and he's recovered the situation. Now, that was not a good shot, because that's absolutely no good anywhere there. That cue ball could have been manoeuvred. He could have manoeuvred that cue ball far better than that. Well, it's a chance, an opportunity to try and build up a healthy little lead. Well, all too soon the visit comes to an end, and if you try and play from that 3 to the 1, you're going to double kiss probably. So very often that's what happens. Well, it's come away, and that's what's happened. Skim past the 1 and the 5. Whenever the ball's right on the rail, you're asking for trouble trying to use that ball to play the thin carom to the other balls here, because it's always going to double kiss off the rail and push the cue ball wide. Where's the cue ball going? It's not going in a nice spot. It's going in the hole again. So the lead is only 10 points. MarkShark, ball in hand. He could start off with the 5-3 carom, which looks simple enough, because with ball in hand you can move the cue ball anywhere in the kitchen. But he's looking to stay top end of the table for the force follow. But he's missed it. Now Ice Age is fairly straight in this 5 ball, but where the cue ball is the perfect line with pace to do the old scratch into the corner. See how it always wants to track to a corner pocket, and if he'd stunned that any firmer, that's where it would have ended up. Now that is a pot and a carom. A little bonus point. And he manages to find a gap between the 3 ball and the rail. Visit ends on 12. The lead is, what is the lead? 21. So you're always looking at the first priority. The first priority is whatever your deficit is. You must get rid of that on this visit. So that's MarkShark's target. He has to get 21 points and he has to keep them to get back on even terms with Ice Age here. And if he doesn't, then it's a fail. Because that's the objective you have to set yourself. Anything above that is a bonus. And the even bigger bonus is keeping those points and not losing them by a scratch. Now this needs to keep going past that 5 spot. It doesn't want to hold the 5 spot, and that's fine. The 5 to the 1 isn't a difficult carom, but he's also got to keep a ball alive to continue the run. So he's going to cut the 5. I'd be stunning the 5 slightly so that I'm taking the line up towards the 3. See, he's run it natural. Now, if you look at where that is, the 5 ball would have went there, and he would have to bang out a carom this way. Whereas if he'd potted the 5, stunned the cue ball up that way, he would have a 2-way shot, 5 to the 3, or maybe 5 to the 1, one way or another. And if you can actually get in the middle of the table, when the balls are off their spot, if you can get top side, in here, and all of these balls are off their spot, if you can get the cue ball up here, you've got an option one way or another. You have to see that on the table. So you always have to look at the lay of the balls before you play that next shot, just so that you have an image in your head of where you want to go. The other part of it is then executing that with the cue ball. You have to be able to put the necessary control on the cue ball to try and get it into the sort of area you're thinking about. These are the sort of fundamental things that good players at any game are doing all the time. Not Cowboy, they're doing that every time in every game. And then people wonder why is this guy so good at this game? Because they think about what they're doing and then they apply themselves and do it for the most part. But anyway, MarkShark is on his road to getting rid of this deficit. He's whittled it down to 6. Now, again, with this shot, I mean, I'm immediately seeing the shot I want to play here. I'm drawing off this over this way slightly. Well, that double kiss in the 1 there hasn't done any harm. But when you start rolling a cue ball towards this pocket, you're putting yourself in danger. I would have set myself over that direction. I would have stunned off it to come over this direction. So the run is now 23. MarkShark's got himself into the position he wants to be. He's got himself back in the lead. And it's a long run in to the finishing line for him. But he hasn't got into the cue ball enough there. That needed to be firmer to get that cue ball to hold its line straighter towards the 3. And that might be dead straight on the 1 ball. Oh no, it's held the spot, which is which is fine because it's an open table. And now the 1 ball will come up. But Ice Age, I think it's just another one of these players that's struggling because it's a 10-footer. They're not familiar with it, and they struggle to read the angles. The cue balls get further distances to travel. MarkShark can't pot a 3 ball, and Ice Age is back in. I'm just going to find a gap. Needs to bounce up higher to leave a little draw carom. Now this is in between, it's neither here nor there, so he's trying to stun to the 5, hasn't found a line. Welcome to it. Well, MarkShark has a 12-point lead. Looking to build on it. But this could be a better day for Mark if he could get a long run together. He's been doing more than enough to be better than Ice Age, but he's not been doing enough to put the fear of death into anybody else who's going to be playing. Well, have I not told you that before? What? The only person I've seen make, in virtual pool that is, make a run out of 101 was Namfat Titan, as he used to be called. In fact, that might be who Albinario beat in the Cowboy World Championships in VP3 in the final. Well, you see, that's typical of typical of Romario. That's the kind of thing he would do, and then scratch, get to 99, and then scratch. But yeah, there's only one player I've known done it. But remember, again, you've got to take it into context. It was far easier to do it. You think? I mean, I've ran out the caroms more than 2 or 3 times in VP4. I've ran out the caroms. You know, I've got to 90, and then I've caromed and scratched my way out in VP4 a number of times. But if you look back to Virtual Pool 3, I mean, I think everybody, I mean, I must have got to 90 dozens and dozens of times in VP3 because all you had to do was pot a ball. You just had to keep the cue ball in play, you know, pot the 1, run down, pot the 5 in the side, run down, pot the 3, back up for the 5. And then if you finished in the middle of the table, you ran the 5 ball into the left pocket, ran it into the right pocket, kept running through. Before you know it, you're in 90. You know, everybody did that hundreds of times in VP3. Now, when you add in the alternate side of things, it makes it much more difficult to achieve. And also the fact that you're on the 10-footer and not the 9-foot table. So it's a much tougher challenge in VP4 than it ever was in VP3. There's no comparison. Anyway, there's a 20-point lead here for MarkShark. And he gets the spin to work there to kick in behind the 3, and that's a better shot than it looked. Again, he could run through off the rail and come into the 1 here, I think. Well, it's going to not have the legs because he can end up dead behind the 1. He needed to hit that with a bit more oomph to get the kick on the 1 there. You know, to get it to, and he's not. Oh, he's got the carom. I thought he was going to scratch there, but he needed a wee bit more weight in the shot just to bump the 1 out the way. But he's recovered, and the run is 33, and he needs to be aware of what the score is here before he does something daft. He's only 5 short of 90. And would you believe it? He's actually potted a 5 and he's got to 90. The run is 36. And the 1 ball's coming back into play. It could have done me going a wee bit further over. Now, this is dangerous now. He needs to be careful here. He's let the cue ball run loose. And he's got the carom from the 5 to the 1, and it needs to be gentle. The run goes to 40. He might miss this going gentle. This is the danger with this shot. And he's got there. Now, big risk now. I think he should take his points and run here. He's trying to see if there's an angle to get to the 3 ball off the 1. I think it's too thin. He's looking at the 3 ball round the corner into the 1 with the cue ball. And he's got there. And again, the 3 balls come back in play. Now, again, this is full focus. He just wants to brush the left side of that 1 ball. Once he hits the 3, well, that's a bit more than a brush. That was a more like a size 12 boot, that shot. This is now even more dangerous. He's on 43. I'd be ducking away here. I'd be checking out. Even more so now that I've got that and I'm on 44. I'd be doing everything to protect my points. I would just roll it the 3 ball and give it to Ice Age and keep my points at 96. Yeah, that was never going to get there, but that was well done. And that's really got Ice Age right into a corner, because he's been nowhere near getting to 40 points with any sort of visit, I don't think. But now's the time to produce it. Just catches the 1. And he wants to try and cut that 1 in if he can. Let's have a look at what the shot looks like. Oh, yeah, he's got to cut the 1. I mean, this is the bit that's nonsensical. He's not thinking. You know, he's looking at potting the 3, and you know he's not leaving himself an easy carom. He's having to thin this 3, and he's missed it. Now, you see, that is a basic error there. You know, that 5 ball and the 3 ball are sitting together. You cut the 1, you get the 1 on its spot. You bring the cue ball across, or anywhere up here, you've got an easy carom. You know, that's staring you right in the face. If you start trying to do things some other heroic way, you end up looking like a numpty, because you end up missing the next shot, and that's what he did. And MarkShark playing the double kiss. That's the shot I was talking about earlier, only this was at a longer distance, but it worked. The double kiss carom, using the rail to kick the cue ball back into play onto the object ball. Yeah, but you know, that shot is just something that you just do not go near. You've got 2 balls adjacent to one another, and you've got another ball over a hole, and your next shot is a pot. What do? Do you pot one of the balls that are the 2 balls sitting side by side for your next carom, or do you pot the one that's over the hole and leave the carom that's guaranteed? Well, the answer to that is you pot the ball that's over the hole, and you leave the carom that's already set up, because you're guaranteed a next shot. It's just so frustrating to see a player just not even noticing that and trying to do it some other way. You know, if you get another shot, you only did it because you got lucky. You never did it because you were actually playing any sort of position, because if you were playing position, you wouldn't have did the shot you did in the first place. You'd have potted the 1. You know, that just tells you that somebody's not really on the ball and thinking. So MarkShark is 3 away from a comfortable win, because he was never put under any pressure. Well, it looks as if I'm either going to have to kill the stream and come back at 8:30, or I'm going to have to look around to see if there's anything worth watching. And now Ice Age pretty much at the point of no return. The first objective again is to get to 90 at this visit. He's on 82, the run is 17. You've got a 5 and a 1 that are handy for a carom, so you pot the 3. No questions asked. That's what you do. You stay top end of the 3, you give yourself a choice from the 3 to the 5 or the 3 to the 1. You play it gentle enough like that to try and keep balls in play, which he has done. Now again, you pot the 3 up top, and you stay up top side of the 3 to give you a choice down the table. Now again, he's hit that far too hard. He shouldn't be trying to play the 5-1. He should be leaving himself top side to give him options. Now he's only got one choice here. And the simple thing is, he has to hit it. And he's missed it. So again, by not giving himself that choice, he's narrowed himself down to one shot that must go. But at least he's kept his points. But he's stuck back on that 89 again. This is deja vu. And he might be forever stuck in 89, because if MarkShark can spin into this 3 ball, which is what he's trying to do. Oh, I think, has he got it? I think he's okay. Yep. And he's also reasonably good on this 1 ball for the outshot. Can he force follow and kick the one out of the way? I think he can. Well, he's trying to go thin edge. I mean, you got to have eyes like a hawk to play this shot. I think he can force follow it. And in it goes. So, well done to MarkShark. The comfortable winner by 3 racks to 0, and that match took, what was it? An hour and 35 minutes, which is not bad. We'll have a look at the bracket and see where that puts MarkShark, because I have no idea where he is in the bracket. Let's have a quick look down. Where is he? Well, that was a 1-loss side, wasn't it? I forgot about that. Yeah, that's what it is. Well, he's got a long while to wait, put it this way. I don't know who he's going to play. Obviously somebody from the top half of the bracket, I would think. So, well done to Mark. But again, a learning experience for Ice Age. You've got to see the sort of standard Cowboy shots that you want to believe in yourself. So the next match is the match that's due to go at 8:30 between Silvia and wanwa. What have we got going on here? We've got no Cowboy matches going, but we've got the tournament match. What is it? $300 daily edition 9-ball LS3 versus Chase 1 around. Wait a minute. Settings, miscellaneous, blue. Okay. Well, don't say my voodoo doesn't work. Not only did LS3 miss the 1, but she scratched. So my work here is done. I'll leave the room. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break, guys. There's only 3 of us watching anyway, myself included. So I'll be back a little later for the main event of the evening. It's going to be Silvia against Fan, and that's due to start at 8:30, and that's a good idea. I think I will head for a coffee break. So until we meet again, thank you for watching, and we will see you later.